Hello everyone, welcome to the modified Darvas Box Palooza. This is my first video ever. I got bored today and discovered some free video recording software and decided I was going to try this out and do one. And the other reason is because I got about 20 stocks or so on my top list, and I'm too lazy to make 20 different charts and put them on Twitter. So yeah, let's try this video thing out and see what happens. All right, let's get into it. This list here is my textbook Darvas Box breakout list. This is the best of the best of the best, in my opinion. It's stocks that fit the criteria, the setup that I look for, and that also has the big green volume breakout, which we all love big green volume breakouts because that means big institutional demand. And as you probably read, my mantra is if the big boys want it, then I want it. And if the big boys want it bad, then I want it bad. So that's pretty much how my system works. And let's get into it and check it out. So the first stock here is the one on your screen, AMD. Has a big, long, huge box, Darvas box. And a box is just a rectangle, for Christ's sakes. But I love Darvas and the Darvas book, so I always refer to them as Darvas boxes. But and it simply frames sideways action. And I'm terrible at other chart patterns, so I decided this was one which I could work with and create a system around. But there's plenty of other valid chart patterns and everything, but they just don't work for me. But this one does. But as you see on AMD, recently, from the last earnings to the current ones, it's been a torture chamber. Look at all these pink arrows. It's been just torture for longs. If you got excited about AMD at the last earnings, but now things are getting interesting. Had a box breakout on this latest week, and which coincided with earnings, and I think this is the one that's going to stick. And big green volume, so we'll see what happens. It looks promising. I was a buyer. AMT, this one is just freaking awesome. AMT actually set up a box and breakout back in 2018, back here in November 2018. Why weren't we buying it then? How stupid are we? But yeah, the markets were sort of crashing at that time, so I give myself a pass on that. But in hindsight, it just looks fabulous. We should have been in it back then. But the great thing about the market is you always get second chances. And AMT has given all of us a second chance. Formed a box here with a volume breakout, and now the stock is higher. And, to me, it looks like it's going to go higher still. So this to me is a good one. ARWR, big volume catches my attention. It formed a box here, broke out here in May on that giant volume spike, and now it's been going higher. It tried it back in 2018, but again, that whole market crash thing got in the way, and so it didn't work. But something to keep your eyes on, and now it is working. But this one comes with a warning. It's in the biotech sector. Biotech is hard. Biotech is risky. God, it's way risky. And so you got to take, biotechs can't go all in, but beware of biotechs. That's my thing. But this one appears to be a good one. AVLR, just a fantastic uptrend. Again, kicking myself that I don't own it or own more of it. I was actually trying to buy it back here down in the 30 area right in December, but and then I lost track of it. And then it just took off. But now, again, second chances. Formed a box, had a breakout in the beginning of June. Now it had earnings. Earnings were good. Stock looks like it's going to go higher. AYX is a champ. This one, if only all stocks were like this one, just constantly going up. This one gave multiple box chances to buy it. 30, 38, 61, and so on and so on. When the latest one here broke out about 98. And what's great about this one, you see the big volume coming in as it sets up. Boom! Breaks out again on that big volume, and 98 to 131. How awesome is that? So this one looks poised to do even better in the future. BRFS, this one makes my list. This is the Brazilian chicken company, which again is part of that global protein trade, which I've posted on. Um, you know, I think there's going to be food problems later this year, and this stock is reflecting it. Not the greatest trending, but it formed the pattern. Formed boxes, broke out on volume. Formed box, broke out on volume. I really like this one for the future, and I think it's going to be a winner. CRSP, this one had a box breakout here in June. It's gone up a little bit, but again, this one's a biotech, so this comes with some asterisks on it. It could be much riskier than it looks. I'm not doing any biotechs. It's just a very difficult sector. So buyer beware. CVNA, this one's is awesome. CVNA has formed a number of different boxes in its history. Had chances to make a lot of money in this one. If you were sharp here in February and saw this big volume spike, you're able to catch a big run there. But then it went sideways and just tortured everyone involved with it. Look at this daily, torture, up, down, up, down, up, down. But now finally it had to go all the way to earnings until finally now it's made up its mind, and now it's broken out in big volume. I was a buyer shortly after, and so far so good. I think this one's gonna be a big winner here in the months to come. ENPH, talking about big winners. Again, if we didn't buy this one, how stupid are we? But had lots of different chances to buy it, so this one should definitely be on the radar. I personally don't know what's going on in solar, but business must be good because the stock is up. Formed a box here, broke out in February. Not that noticeable, but I noticed it. And I kept it for a little bit. I'd made some money on it, but unfortunately I didn't keep it for the big swing. Disappointment is the name of the game. But had earnings, and just keeps going higher. It's the king. GH is the newest one on the list. It formed a box after its IPO and just ripped 40 to 100. That's amazing. And then it went sideways, and then again you see all the pink arrows, and then tortured all the longs. Tested their conviction. How badly do you believe in this company? But now it reported earnings here, broke out on volume. I was a buyer, and we'll see what happens. It's very promising. So far, so good. Gold, for all the people worried about financial stuff and everything, gold's been a great trade. They really should send Jerome Powell a Christmas card on this one. Formed a box, broke out on big volume, and ever since then, it's been up big. Even Ray Dalio's been pounding the table on gold, and I laugh at Ray and make fun of him, but yeah, it looks like he's nailed this one. So looks like it's going to go higher to me. Oh, and if you look at the monthly chart, the monthly looks like it's probably going to go a lot higher in the future, but we'll see what happens. OKTA, this one's another one which has just been fantastic run. Could have gotten involved in this one way back here at 30, or here at 72, or even here at 86. But oh, I don't even have that circled. Gosh, got to do that. But again, you had multiple chances, but just keeps going up, follows the trend higher, and it's got earnings coming pretty soon, so we'll see what happens with this one. Plan, again, forms the Darvas Box breakout. Nice box formation and then boom, hits the big volume, and then gets another week of big green volume, and another week of big green volume, and another week of big green volume. Okay, if that doesn't tell you that the big boys like this one, then you're just insane. Right now, obviously, it's got earnings coming up at the end of August, so we'll see what happens. But my expectation is they're going to be pretty good, but we never know the reaction to them. So um, it may be a little risky to buy it here, but at the very least, it should be on your list. Roku, this one is just an animal. Roku is an animal, and it makes me feel so dumb every time I look at it. I was a buyer here when things got really interesting on the giant green volume, but then I sold it after a few points. I got scared. And I'm human like everybody else. I see trade war stuff. I see Trump tweets. I get scared. And we all do dumb things, but the good news again, we get multiple chances to correct our mistakes, and broke out here on big volume, and then broke out here again on big volume again. But if you got shaken out, if you bought it and then sold it and didn't buy it back, don't beat yourself up. It hasn't been the easiest stock to hold because it really does move around a lot. But perhaps that's gonna work itself out now as it continues its uptrend. But it's just an animal. I love it. SHAK had a gigantic breakout here this past week. I never really noticed SHAK much, although I've been into plenty of Shake Shacks for the food. I think the food is totally overpriced. It's burgers and fries for Christ's sakes. And they charge so much more than like McDonald's or Wendy's. But here's the thing: the restaurant is always packed. It's always crowded in there. So I'm sure management is loving it. And when business is good, the stocks go up. So I didn't really notice SHAK earlier, but with this big volume, I'm noticing it now. So definitely makes the list. Shop. I have sat on my butt and watched Shop go up and up and up, and it's done it all without me. Just kills me. I was actually talking to friends about SHAK. Sorry, not SHAK. Shop back here in like November, but it then formed a box. Didn't really bust out on big volume, but the trend took over, and man, that's from like 150 now to 369 and climbing. So Shop is definitely on the list of big winners. SMAR, again, another one that's formed Darvas boxes with breakouts. There's the first breakout. At 30, formed another box, broke out again. Big green volume. The big boys want this one also. Now, lately, it's down, from 55 or so. So I'm sure people are a little pissed off at this one. But it's got earnings coming up, and most likely they'll be good, and then the uptrend will resume. So keep this one on your radar. Snap, another one, doing great. Had the box set up, box breakout, a bit of uptrend, and now it's good earnings, broke out again, and looks poised for higher prices. I tell you something about Snap. I started buying Snap back in May, like right around here on the big volume. And you see, you got to pay attention to this. The market was terrible in May, but again and again, Snap kept getting big green volume. That was the big boys looking. They were doing their buying back then, and their information is better than ours. They knew, and now the stock looks like it's going to head a lot higher. TSN looks pretty good. In fact, it looks awesome. Formed a box breakout. And I can't even believe it. This is a freaking chicken company, for Christ's sakes. But chicken, if there's going to be a food crisis later on, or a price shock or something, then this thing stands to benefit. Had a box breakout, and I was a buyer right here. I did one trade in the 83s, didn't quite stick, and then I did another one here in the low 82s. That one stuck, and now we're sitting pretty. This one to me is a long-term holding. It pays a 2% dividend, which is fantastic. So I can just sit and let it trend and win in a couple different ways. So I'm really liking this one. TTD, another great one everybody knows about. Had the big launch way back in 2018, formed a box, broke out, formed another box, and had a little nervous shakeout here, but it didn't. It recovered pretty quick. It is a high valuation, and valuations do matter, but if the growth is big enough, then they get put to the sidelines for a while until so long as the growth continues, the valuation is okay. And now it did its latest earnings, but yeah, looks headed higher. And the last stock in the Box of Palooza session here is Twitter. I personally can't dislike the Twitter, the company, for some of the things they do, but again, it looks like they figured out how to make money and formed a box, had a weird time breakout, pulled back, probably because everybody was so shocked that they started making money, they couldn't believe it. But now, yeah, had good earnings again, broke out, and looks like it's going to go higher. Twitter's not really my favorite on this list, but it fits the criteria, so I put it on. So anyways, that's the Box of Palooza. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, bye.